Inside game has not been up to par, though it has improved lately.
Well, with Blackman, Davender, Chapman, the logic to go outside is obvious. But when Rob Locke and Madison play well inside, in fact, when they score in double figures, the Cats have not lost.
And here's the starting lineup for Kentucky, that three-guard starting lineup. Madison, the leading rebounder. Rock, 6'11". Locke is the biggest player in the Kentucky lineup. Chapman, the freshman, leads them in scoring. Blackman comes off a career-high 27 against Auburn. Davender, the best defensive player in the starting five. And for the Alabama Crimson Tide of Wimp Sanderson, getting set over on the Alabama bench. His first place team starts Jim Farmer, the glue that keeps them together, battling an eye infection. Ansley, the leading rebounder. McKee, the leading scorer. Gottfried, deadly from three-point range. And Connor has led the SEC in assists 3 straight years. Opening tap controlled by Kentucky. Madison comes down with it. Kentucky in the first meeting up in Lexington, tough man-to-man defense really told the tale for Alabama. What do they open up here?
Well, the Tide's gone with its best, which is man for man, trying to neutralize that three-point mentality that the Cats have exploited on occasion. They've been very up and down, but when you live on the perimeter, you're going to be that way.
Davender takes one just inside the three-point strike. It's 2, but Kentucky draws first blood.
You know, that point about February being a sweetheart month. Over the last 10 years, the Cats have won 83% of their games in February, so maybe they're getting the kinks out.
Derek McKee can't hit, rebounded by Kentucky. Davender brought it down, takes it back from Blackman. Kentucky up court with a 2-0 lead.
First time the Cats really working to keep the Tide on defense for a while. That takes a lot out of your offense.
Madison can't get away from Ansley, feeds it back outside to Davender. Opening minute of the game from Tuscaloosa. Chapman. Rex Chapman off balance. The freshman, who's averaging nearly 16 a game, hits it to put Kentucky up 4-0.
McKee is playing Locke inside, and he's playing him very soft, looking to help. I think Kentucky's going to need to find him and get some strong moves.
It's Terry Connor penetrating and getting the first 2 for Alabama.
Oh, he's some point guard. Great control. The knee injury right before the start of the season almost took the Tide season away. Made a terrific recovery. They've only lost once with him in there.
Madison got open inside. There's that inside game.
Well, Eddie Sutton wants to get those guys alert and going.
Kentucky out of the gate quickly. The Wildcats with a 6-2 lead. Gottfried pressured by Chapman. Here's McKee against Locke. Off the glass too hard. Locke has the rebound.
Smart defensive play by Rob Locke. He's not trying to reject McKee. He's trying to disconcert the shot and make sure he doesn't get on that offensive glass.
Chapman. Davender. Well, Davender 2 for 2. And Kentucky sprints clear now. An 8-2 lead.
Going back to that rout of Louisville by Kentucky. Ironically, they started out with a 4-zip deficit. Boy, they're starting hotter than that today.
Farmer and Locke collide, and Farmer is called for the offensive foul. First foul of the game, Jim Farmer, the 5-year senior from Alabama.
Boy, this really is a veteran club. 3 5-year seniors, and McKee, who's already as a junior played some 84 games. So there's a great deal of experience out on the floor for Alabama, and it has served them well.
Farmer is a 5-year senior. There's McKee, the junior. Terry Connor is senior. Mark Gottfried is actually a graduate student. He already has his bachelor's degree.
And he's a PhD from three-point range. Incredible shooter out there.
Over 50%. Locke has it knocked away inside, out of bounds. It'll go back to Kentucky.
Tom, did you see Locke trying to make a forceful move, trying to get a quick foul on McKee?
Eddie Sutton wants them to go inside, and so far they have.
Haven't done badly outside either. Nice balance so far.
And haven't missed.
That's right. When the ball's going in, your offense looks good.
Knocked away from Locke. McKee took it away from him.
Yeah, but the theme was the same. He was going at McKee, which is the only way to play him. If he's coming at you from the soft side, he's awesome.
Blackman picked it off, and then a foul call on James Blackman of Kentucky as he collided with Connor.
Well, Charlie Vaca couldn't have been in a better spot to make that call, but it really did appear that Blackman had his hands on the ball before the collision.
Ben Dunn, Charlie Vaca, Larry Ware, the officials today, as Jim Farmer sets to put it in play for the Crimson Tide. Kentucky lead. Alabama had some problems getting it in, but Chapman knocked it out of bounds back to Bama.
Boy, early momentum, no question. The Tide looks like wimp right now. Concerned, befuddled, not really crisp, not looking like the nation's #9 team.
And of course, the sellout crowd of 15,000, very quiet right now. Kentucky has effectively taken the crowd out of the game. Farmer at long range, guarded by Davender. Davender knocked it away. Blackman, lead pass, and there's going to be a foul called. It'll be a foul on Alabama. The Kentucky man-to-man defense very tenacious.
Well, it's a lousy statistic. Kentucky leads the SEC in defense because they only give up 63 points a game. That just doesn't tell anything. But Kentucky does play good defense. Most of the defensive leaders are teams that hold the ball. This Kentucky team does get after you. It's always been a hallmark of Eddie Sutton's clubs.
Madison can't hit it. First Kentucky miss, and then commits the foul as he goes for the rebound. Richard Madison, his first. That's 2 now against Kentucky.
The Master Blaster. Alabama now only 1 hoop in the last 5 possessions, trying to get their offense uncorked, as it were. McKee is now at the high post. They had difficulty finding him down low. And mostly, not because of Rob Locke's defense, because of good pressure on the ball.
Just over 16 minutes to play in the first half. Connor. He'll be called for traveling. Kerry Connor walks, and Alabama turns it over again.
Well, Connor was a thorn in the side of the Cats in Lexington. 10 assists and 7 rebounds.
He is the leader in the Southeastern Conference in assists and held that title the last 2 years as well. Chapman up court for the Wildcats with an 8-2 lead in 16 minutes, first half on the clock. Clock open over McKee. Yes.
Well, maybe there is something to February. The Wildcats are playing like they're charmed so far.
8-point lead, the biggest. Locke went for the steal, couldn't get it.
Notice the progression. McKee now all the way to the top of the key.
Chapman made the steal. Blackman fouled by Connor as he goes in. Kentucky's defense has Alabama totally befuddled.
They are dominating the game from the defensive end. That was a good foul.
Locke almost had the interception. Chapman did, and then the perfect pass to Blackman streaking for the hoop.
Well, the presence of McKee on the offensive end of the floor tells the story of the Kentucky defense. He started out low, couldn't get it, went high post, couldn't get it, and that time he was 2 steps past the head of the key, and Locke still made the pass to him in adventure. An inspired Kentucky effort so far.
All 5 Kentucky starters have scored, and Blackman comes off that 27-point effort against Auburn. In fact, has scored 45 points the last 2 games. Misses the second free throw. McKee rebounds for Alabama.
Well, the free throws have been an Achilles heel for the Wildcats, only about 60%.
Godfrey can't hit it. Tapped in. I think it was McKee, wasn't it?
Are we talking talent or what? He was on the way down and just slap-tapped that sucker back in there. Oh, he's something. Those hands, we talked about the 6'7" shortstop. He showed them to you there.
Kentucky's lead 7. Chapman for 3. McKee lost it. Madison for Kentucky to Locke, who lays it in.
Kentucky's looking good on offense, Tom, but the key is defense. 4 Tide turnovers so far. They're 2 for 5 from a shooting standpoint, but it has been the pressure D.
Ansley inside, blocked by Locke. Blackman for Kentucky Wildcats, 4 on 3.
There's your leadership from Blackman. The numbers weren't for him. He pulled it back.
Madison inside. Another inside hoop for the Wildcats. Who said they don't have an inside game?
Well, right now, Wimp Sanderson's got to be looking at his defense, and he's not sure if it's a sieve or what. Kentucky at both ends of the floor doing about what it wills.
Wildcats lost by 14 at home to Alabama in the earlier meeting.
Connor's got to penetrate. Alabama's totally lost its patterns. Kentucky defense has forced him right out of the offense, and he's got to now be creative, which is something he has demonstrated clearly that he can do.
Less than 14 minutes remaining in the first half. There's a three-pointer by Mark Gottfried. Gottfried hits 52.3% from three-point range, and he cuts the margin to 8.
Picking up where he left off Wednesday night, where he had 6 three-pointers in the
Gottfried out early today, shot about 200 three-pointers this morning. Knocked away from Blackman and stolen by Bama. Here comes the Tide fast break. Connor through the hands of his intended receiver, Farmer, and another Bama turnover.
Did you hear that crowd? They're well rested. They want it in.
There's Eddie Sutton on the Kentucky bench. His Wildcats with a 15-7 lead and 13-25 and counting for the first half.
The freshman Chapman on the road, handling the ball against pressure.
And guarded by the 5-year senior Gottfried, who's running down in Lexington. There's a foul on Gottfried.
Well, that was a different look. Chapman with the ball against full court pressure, and it appeared that Kentucky just opened the floor and let Chapman go on him. Each other time down the floor, the Cats have been very patient, picking the Tide defense apart and doing about what it wanted, especially going down inside. It's like they don't respect McKee.
King Rex, they call him. He is averaging almost 16 a game in his first college campaign. That's his third point. He's only a 64% free throw shooter, though he was over the 80s in high school. Cedric Jenkins, 6'9" junior, Dawson, Georgia, suffered a stress fracture in his foot. He was expected to be a mainstay inside for the Wildcats. He comes in and replaces Rob Locke.
Well, I whipped old Madison yesterday at the free throw line, but Chapman was too tough for me.
Chapman's
zone pressure that time by Kentucky.
Gottfried misses from outside, and it was Chapman that had a hand on it to knock it out of bounds. I was about to say, Rex's dad, Wayne Chapman, is the coach at Kentucky Wesleyan College, currently ranked #1 in NCAA Division II.
Good genes, that's what you're telling me, Tom. Good genes.
Bama with the basketball, trailing by 10.
Speaking of coaches' sons, Eddie Sutton's son is going to play for him at Kentucky.
Sean Sutton, currently a senior at Lexington Henry Clay High School.
I hope that works out. Boy, I think that's a lot of stress on everybody.
Chapman behind the back. Back outside to Davender. Still looking inside.
Yep. Wildcats burying the attack. Very seldom the quick shot, though. Chapman was challenged on that press.
Blackman misses from three-point range, and Connor wades in to get the rebound. Gottfried open from three. Instead, takes a couple of dribbles and hits the baseline jumper.
Gottfried had developed an eye infection, conjunctivitis, and the first night he had it, he got 29 against Vandy. Wimp was wondering if he could please have an epidemic, and as it has turned out, Farmer, his roommate, is now bothered with a similar ailment, but he has not responded positively. The shooting has fallen off.
Only 33% since he contracted the eye infection. Davender got away and scored.
Like an eel, little playground move there, right out of New York.
10-point lead again for the Wildcats. They have been the leader since the opening tap. Lob inside, McKee lays it in over Jenkins.
The difference there, Kentucky did not have pressure on the ball. The early part of this game, they have really made each pass an adventure, and Alabama forgot to look inside.
And the closers with an 8. 11-22 first half. Davender, pretty shot off the glass.
Kentucky cleared the floor, and Davender responded.
Davender, leading scorer in the game, he has 8. McKee inside, reverses. Madison fighting for the rebound with Ansley. It comes to Farmer, and he's fouled by Jenkins.
I don't think so. I really thought that Farmer went into the defense that time.
Irv Thomas makes his first appearance in the Kentucky lineup. Richard Madison goes out. Thomas, excuse me, Bucky, 6'7" sophomore from Miami, averages 4 a game.
Alabama's first opportunity to go to the line.
James Jackson, JJ, number 11 in for Alabama, 5'11" senior from Montgomery, averages 7 a game. He spells Connor.
That's the first move by Wimp Sanderson to his bench. Sutton started substituting a little earlier. Jackson, looks like a fighter's eye.
The left eye of Jim Farmer. Didn't bother the free throw, though. And he's a good free throw shooter, 85%, 4th in the Southeastern Conference from the line. And he hits 2. first two of the game for Farmer, who is only 10 away from 1,000 for his career. Time.
Welcome back to Super Channel Basketball. As you see, Wimp Sanderson, coach of Alabama, is far from happy with his team's performance. We rejoin the game with Alabama trailing 13-21. 9 minutes, 30 seconds remain in the half.
Davender open, top of the key. He's perfect. Davender 5 for 5. Kentucky's lead back at 10, 23-13 with 9:18 on the clock. Alabama just spinning wheels here in the first half. Kind of like that band at the hotel last night, working hard but just off key.
And he's setting right up on the sideline. Look at Wimp. He always looks like a guy that just sat on an expensive crystal flask. He's pain. The man's in agony. He does get batteries with that sport coat. I know he does. What a guy. Woe is me. He underwhelms you. While he's pawing the ground and looking chagrined, his team is usually doing a number on you.
Kentucky by 10. The biggest lead for the Wildcats has been 11. Thomas didn't even look at the hoop. Feeds it back outside. Farmer all over Blackman. Almost had a steal.
Interesting that Madison and Locke both being rested at the same time.
And Davender's taken over the point production. He's 6 for 6. Time remaining, 25-13, the Kentucky lead. Jackson for 3. J.J. Jackson tries to light a fire under this Alabama team.
Jackson invariably comes in and lights up this crowd. An exciting offensive player. Led the Missouri Valley Conference in scoring before he transferred to Alabama.
From West Texas State. Here's an offensive foul on Irv Thomas, jockeying for position underneath, and Thomas whistled for number 1. 4 team fouls now against Kentucky. It's been Ed Davender, actually 6 for 7 from the field. He missed the layup as McKee intimidated him, but other than that, he has been red hot. 6 for 7, Davender, helping Kentucky to that 25-16 lead.
Well, you can hear the cheers throughout the SEC.
Connor feeds it off. Good. Into the game, Keith Askins, the freshman, wastes no time getting into the scoring column.
An interesting substitution. Wimp Sanderson going to a rookie, and he delivers.
Lock crowd now into the game.
Locke and Madison now coming back in.
Paul Andrews in for Kentucky, guarded by Jackson. Andrews, a senior.
This is the closest that Alabama has been since 8-2.
Jenkins inside, surrounded. They take it away from him. Connor's got it. Connor dishes off. Shot good from the corner. J.J. Jackson. Alabama with 7 minutes to play. Mounting an attack now. They're within 5.
They've come up empty 4 times down the floor. If they do this time, I think something will call a timeout. Oh, this place is bonkers.
Davender almost lost it. Davender, long range, it's there.
What a day he's having. That was well beyond three-point range. Does that silence the crowd?
What? Farmer. Driving, lost it, but a foul. Foul on Kentucky's Ed Davender. First foul on Davender, number 5 against the Wildcats, as Madison and Locke return to the Kentucky lineup.
Mr. Outside this today in particular has been Ed Davender.
I think he was a little embarrassed in that first performance up in Lexington. They completely shut him off, only 4 points. He's made up for it so far today.
Well, the play of Kentucky on a team basis with that 39% field goal shooting in Lexington in the first go-around indicates today that they're playing mad. They're not just mad. They're getting even too.
Lob it to McKee. Connor to McKee for the jam.
Wimp Sanderson out of the timeout said, "Hey fellas, Let's go to the franchise. Let's get this crowd in it. And he got it.
Bama within 5. Chapman got his own rebound and scored. The freshman Rex Chapman off the offensive glass.
A 44-inch vertical leap. I still find that almost too much to believe, but he demonstrated something there.
Connor for the hoop and his foul. Andrews called for the reach-in.
Well, despite slam dunks like that by Alabama's McKee and a three-point shot by Jim Farmer with only 30 seconds of the half remaining, Alabama could only reduce the Kentucky lead to 5 at half-time. The score, Kentucky 40, Alabama 35. We rejoin the game at the start of the second half.
Alabama's possession. Crimson Tide has Connor, Gottfried, Ansley, Farmer, and McKee, the original starting 5. Here's Kentucky in a zone.
Yeah, look for them to go right inside with a lob to McKee. Without pressure on Connor out front, he will find the big guy underneath.
Flash it back outside to Connor. Farmer open for 3. No good. Madison with a tough rebound. Gottfried got right underneath him. No whistle. Gottfried took a shot.
Whoa. Gottfried has a death wish. They don't call him Master Blaster Madison for nothing.
Here's an offensive foul called on Rex Chapman of Kentucky, and Gottfried goes down again.
Gottfried must think he's in a demolition derby. At least he picked on somebody his own size at the other end. Chapman's kind of skinny.
First foul on Chapman. First foul either team in the second half. Kentucky has its original starting 5. Madison, Blackman, Locke, Davender, and Chapman.
Interesting starting the second half on his own. The man-for-man was so effective, probably because Wimp spent a lot of the time out, planning against that pressure man-for-man. They'll come back to it.
Gottfried buries one from three-point range.
Well, those 2 physical shots he just took at both ends of the floor didn't have anything to do with his bomb sight.
And Bama's within 2.
That's as close as they've been all day, Tom.
Kentucky broke on top, led by as many as 11 in the first half. Madison low over McKee. No good. Rebounded by Ansley. Bama with a chance to tie.
Nobody on that offensive board for the Wild.
McKee slams to tie the game.
No one has called timeout yet, but I think Eddie needs one now.
Alabama has scored 5 in a row to start the second half and tie it at 40. Locke knocked away from him and stolen by Alabama. Tide looks for its first lead. Blackman had a hand in it. Locke picks it up. Madison. Here's Chapman with a baseball pass. Blackman open. He got it.
Boy, Kentucky needed that basket badly. They were just about to roll out of here on the Crimson Tide. For football fans, these folks can really get after you with the hoops.
Farmer for 3, and Alabama has its first lead, 43-42. Alabama with a 1-point lead. The first time Crimson Tide has been in front all afternoon. Chapman for 3. No good. Rebounded by McKee.
The defensive intensity by Alabama is much greater. That's the difference.
Here's a foul called on Kentucky's James Blackman.
Whenever you don't keep pressure on the perimeter of Alabama, you risk 2 things. Finding McKee for the slammer, or the excellent outside shooting by Farmer and Gottfried.
It was McKee with 25 points in the first meeting, many on the lob passes that carried Alabama to a 14-point win. Here, the Tide has come from behind to take a 1-point edge with 17-12 showing on the clock. Alabama leads at 43-42.
And they've done it with defense, Tom. In 5 possessions, Kentucky is 1 for 3 from the field and 2 turnovers. There's no question the Alabama intensity on defense is the difference in the second half. On Thursday night, Norman Sloan was playing against Georgia in Gainesville. Didn't like the way his first team was playing defense. Substituted a completely new team, ran off a 13-2 streak, and ran away with the game.
Here's Farmer. Rolled out with the rebound, Ansley. Michael Lansley with his first 2 of the game, and Alabama up by 3, 45-42.
That was Kentucky's timeout. But it was Alabama who capitalized on it coming out.
Eric Miller into the game for Kentucky. His first appearance. He's a freshman from Savannah, Georgia, 6'6". Averages 6 points a game. There's Miller, number 4.
Gottfried now has the contract on Davender. Or Blackman, I'm sorry.
Here's Blackman. Leaves it for Madison, who scores. Nice pass.
Kentucky not afraid to go down inside. They have definitely matured and developed since the total perimeter aspect they employed early in the year.
Connor is called for the charging foul. Here's Wimp as he reacted to Madison's basket. Or was it the charging foul?
That's when he was happy. Bah, humbug. You should have seen him react to that charge. Not good. Look at that.
Do you think he blistered some paint in the walls of the locker room at halftime?
I know one thing. He'll never be a poster boy for Dale Carnegie. That man is angry most of the time on the basketball floor. Really a soft guy often.
Terry Connor committed the foul, his second, the first on Alabama this half. Alabama has won 10 straight here at home. Kentucky, the last team to beat them here last season. Shot by Miller from three-point range is way short, and Connor has the rebound. Alabama with the ball up by 1, 45-44.
Offensively, Kentucky really going for that perimeter shot, and it's not working. When they have gone down inside, it's looked a little better.
In fact, Miller took that shot. I believe he's going to come out of the game.
The key, though, is Alabama's defense. As it was in the first half, Kentucky's defense has been the catalyst for both of these teams in each half.
Ed Davender, who had 18 in the first half, hasn't touched the ball in the second half. Gottfried off the glass. Mark Gottfried has 10 points. Alabama leads 47-44, 15 minutes left.
I don't know what Wimp said at the half, but I hope he taped it. It's a 12-4 runoff now for the Tide.
Here's Davender. Makes his move. This is no good. McKee has the rebound and a reach-in foul on Davender. That's number 3 on Ed Davender.
Locke had his feet taken out from under him on the offensive board. Just aggressive rebound. Let's see what happened here. It looked like Ansley just took his feet out from under him. Locke was too far under to be effective on the board. And that's the 3rd foul on Davender.
And that could be a factor. He has 18 points. The leading Kentucky scorer, all coming in the first half. Here's Mike Scott coming in to replace Rob Locke, who took the spill. Scott, the transfer from Wake Forest, 6'11" sophomore from South Shore, Kentucky, has played only 4.5 minutes since becoming eligible.
A little bit out of shape. He really isn't ready for this kind of a game. If Locke can come back at all quickly, I think we'll see him.
Scott with a nice switch to cut off Connor there, however. Steal by Davender and an offensive foul on Davender. That's number 4.
Davender begging to stay in. 18 points in the first half, none in the second half. Let's watch. A good steal by Davender. Unquestionably, the senior Farmer knew he had good position and didn't let Davender off the hook by reaching for the ball. He took the contact.
Paul Andrews, the man to replace Davender. Andrews played in the first half, didn't score. A 6'3" senior from London, Kentucky. So Davender, with 18 points, picks up his 4th foul with 14:25 to play in the game. Goes to the Kentucky bench.
And Kentucky back to the man-for-man that was so good to him.
McKee got right around Scott. Picked up on the switch by Madison, and they're going to call an offensive foul on McKee.
I have not seen Madison play this well, just with things like that. McKee blows by Scott, but look at Madison take his ground and take a shot. He's playing smart. We know he's a great athlete, you know, the 90-mile-an-hour fastball and the high school quarterback and all of that, but he's playing smart basketball now.
Kentucky with the basketball, trailing by 3 as we pass the 14-minute mark. Blackman had to alter his shot, got rid of it to Chapman momentarily. Guthrie touched it last.
Boy, Farmer is in Blackman's face.
Jim Farmer had the big second half in the Alabama win up in Lexington, had 20 points in the second half in the first game against the Wildcats. Kentucky now playing without its point guard, Ed Davender, and looking a little shaky on their offense. Madison back to Blackman from 3. Andrews gets the rebound right between two Bama players.
Chapman's got to take over offensively here.
Here's Madison, off the glass too hard, got his own rebound, stripped away, stolen by Connor. Terry Connor. Alabama sprints to its biggest lead. The Crimson tied by 5, 49-44.
Kentucky must keep its cool right now. Keep running its stuff. Alabama is in a frenzy. But one thing they don't need now is a quick, bad shot. Because when they do, it'll be run right down their throat.
Chapman took an off-balance shot, wasn't squared up to the basket, and couldn't hit it.
McKee wanted that one.
He thought about it, didn't he?
He surely did. He pondered it, as they say. And Wimp screamed bloody murder. He said, take Scott down inside and destroy him.
Connor, nice pass!
That's what Wimp had in mind, Derek.
Terry Connor made the pass to McKee for the slam, and Kentucky has been outscored 16-4 in the second half. Chapman fouled by Guthrie, it was all over it.
Well, Chapman's trying to be assertive. Watch this pass now. And that time he finds the franchise. Derek McKee, who buries him.